لا إله إلا الله محمد رسول الله.
Esteemed viewers, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. I happily welcome all of you yet again to another episode of Misconceptions Removed, a program we believe will have a positive impact on your understanding of Islam. My name is Monica Said, your host. Today we're going to be looking at some of the misconceptions surrounding a number of verses in chapter 16 of the Holy Quran. I'm with Sheikh Adam Hamid Sembaje, the National Tabligh Secretary, Ahmadiyya Muslim Association, Uganda, to take us through the nooks and crannies of today's discussion. Sheikh Adam Hamid, you're most welcome on Misconceptions Removed.
Thank you, please, for having me.
It is a pleasure. Well, Sheikh Adam Hamid, some of the verses in chapter 16 that I would like to seek clarity about are verses 21 to 22 of Surah An-Nahr. That is the 16th chapter of the Holy Quran. To begin with, verse 21, it says, if I read verbatim, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم, I would read the English part of it. It says, and those on whom they call beside Allah create not anything, but they are themselves created. That is verse 21. If we proceed to verse 22, it says, they are dead, not living, and they know not when they will be raised. That is verse 22. I'm very aware, if the verse speaks of deities, those that are worshipped besides Allah, the Holy Personality of Jesus Christ, ﷺ, or Isa ibn Maryam, is among those who are worshipped.
Sure.
Does this mean, according to this verse, that he is also among the dead?
Yes, but again, since you are seeking clarity about the Holy Quran, I think we better use the Holy Quran to understand about whom these verses are referring to.
All right.
And if you give me an opportunity to look through the Holy Quran, I want to go to chapter 5 of the Holy Quran, where Allah the Almighty himself, he tells us about who is being talked about here. In chapter 5 of the Holy Quran, chapter 5, we read verse 73 of the Holy Quran, where Allah the Almighty says, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم لقد كفر الذين قالوا إن الله هو المسيح ابن مريم وقال المسيح يا بني إسرائيل اعبدوا الله ربي وربكم. This verse, the translation of this verse is that indeed they are disbelievers who say that surely Allah is none but the Messiah, son of Mary. Okay. So this verse is very clear that there is a group of people out there who regard the son of Mary, Jesus Christ, Prophet Isa ibn Maryam, who regard him as Allah, as God. Whereas the Messiah himself said, O children of Israel, worship Allah, who is my Lord and your Lord. Surely, whoso associates partners with Allah, him has Allah forbidden heaven, and the fire will be his resort, and the wrongdoers shall have no helpers. Then verse 74 of the same chapter, chapter 5, says, they are surely disbelievers who say Allah is the third of three. There is no God but one God. So this verse is referring to Trinity, which is a cardinal belief in Christianity, okay, in which they regard Jesus to be part of the Trinity, which makes up God.
Okay.
So clearly, if the Holy Quran is talking of those who are being worshipped, and it's pointing out Jesus as one of those who was being worshipped, so you cannot rule him out of this verse.
All right.
But unfortunately, it's very unfortunate that despite this clarity from the Holy Quran, one, when it says that those who are being worshipped are dead and they are not alive, as you have just read it from Surah An-Nahl, the 16th chapter of the Holy Quran, verse 21 to 22. And even it is emphasized in chapter 5, verse 18, and in chapter 5, verse 73 to 74. It is clearly emphasizing that those are disbelievers who regard Jesus, who take Jesus for being God. So this verse in chapter 5, these three verses clearly indicate to us that the one of the person who is being talked about in chapter 16, verse 21 to 22, clearly it must be Jesus Christ, whom the Christians are regarding to be God.
Okay.
So it's very unfortunate that the primary subject of this discussion, who should be Jesus, being worshipped by more than 1 billion people, can be ruled out when the Holy Quran is pointing out that he's being worshipped by those who believe in him as God.
Okay.
So the Muslims, some group of Muslims, it's very unfortunate that they have also taken the wrong path of the Christians by thinking that Jesus or Isa ibn Maryam is still alive for 2,000 years. Whereas the Holy Quran is very clear that it is only God who is everlasting. So themselves, by regarding Jesus to be alive for 2,000 years, in fact, they are supporting the Christian notion that Jesus is everlasting, 2,000 years, still alive. Not only that, when we read in chapter 3 of the Holy Quran, verse 145, it clearly says, وَمَا مُحَمَّدٌ إِلَّا رَسُولٌ قَدْ خَلَتْ مِنْ قَبْلِهِ الرُّسُلُ. That Muhammad, peace and blessing of Allah be upon him, is a prophet of God. قَدْ خَلَتْ مِنْ قَبْلِهِ الرُّسُلُ. All prophets who were before him have already passed away. And Jesus was a prophet, or is among the prophets who came to this world before the Holy Prophet Muhammad. All of these verses put together, it's very clear, crystal clear, that Jesus, Isa ibn Maryam, is one of those who are being talked about, that they are dead, not alive, who are wrongly being worshipped by those who are misguided.
To divert you a little bit, in one of our previous episodes here, we made it quite clear that at the inception of Christianity, when we were speaking about the people of the cave, Ashab al-Kahfi, a colleague of yours who was here made it clear that at the inception of Christianity, they believed in the Unitarian concept of God. And in the verses of the Holy Quran that you read from chapter 5, of, if I'm not mistaken, you made it clear that that verse alludes to Trinity. My question therefore is, when did the Christian divert from the path of believing in the Unitarian concept of God and then shift to the Trinitarian concept of God?
It's unfortunate. One, Jesus Christ had a very short period in which he remained with his disciples. It is just a mere 3 years. So it is very probable that they were not well versed with his teachings.
Okay.
They needed enough time for him to teach, and they understand exactly what he was teaching.
All right.
Number two, when Jesus departed from there and he migrated, it is well understood from the Holy Quran, and he left them. Unfortunately, those who were a big number of people joined Christianity, and the few Christians who were still there under persecution did not have enough time to teach them. Right. So they came with the wrong teachings from their pagan teachings, and believing in their goddesses, their false gods, and so on. So many of those false beliefs which they had in their former teachings of paganism, they incorporated them into Christianity, and they had a negative impact on Christianity. So some of these things, that's how they crept into Christianity. And another point also to understand is that since these people were being heavily persecuted, so they did not have, they could not resist the influence, the negative influence of paganism on them.
All right.
And some of them, maybe opportunistically, thought that if they accept some of those teachings from paganism, maybe it will help to bring over on board many of those who were opposing Christianity. So that is how Christianity fell into this abyss of Trinity when they started believing Jesus to be God and the Holy Ghost, and then God and three fathers make up a Trinity. But otherwise, according to the Holy Quran, like I've already read it out to you, when he said that indeed there are disbelievers who say surely Allah is none but the Messiah, son of Mary. Well, as the Messiah himself said, the Holy Quran is putting the record straight. In fact, you will not find it in the Holy Bible anywhere that Jesus himself instructed those people to accept him as God. No. Nor did he encourage his disciples to worship him like we see Christians worshiping him today. Right. So this is one of the misconceptions that is the Holy Quran is correcting when it says, well, as the Messiah, Jesus himself said, O children of Israel, worship Allah, who is my Lord and your Lord. Surely whoso associates partners with Allah, him has Allah forbidden heaven, and the fire will be his resort, and the wrongdoers shall have no helpers. That is Surah Al-Ma'idah, chapter 5 of the Holy Quran, verse 73. So the Holy Quran is putting the case very straightforward, correcting the misguided position of the Christian brothers that no, Jesus never claimed to be God. In fact, he taught his followers, his disciples, to worship the only one true God.
All right. Thank you very much for that exquisite explanation. As we proceed, I'd like us again to look at verse 44 of the very chapter, that is chapter 16. This verse also has something that boggles my mind. It says, and we sent not as messengers before thee, but men to whom we sent revelation. So ask those who possess the remainder if you know not. I have noticed this, that quite often when you are in a religious dialogue between Muslims and non-Muslims, they emphatically quote this statement, so ask those who possess the remainder. That to them it means that the revelation, first of all, was given to the non-Muslims. And therefore, Allah is commanding Muslims that whatever you do not understand, you rather go and seek guidance on its true interpretation from the Christians. Say, for example, if a Muslim is confused on the true status of Jesus, son of Mary, go to a non-Muslim, probably Christian, and ask him, who is Jesus? And probably an answer will be given to you that Jesus is a son of God. Is that what you also understand by this verse?
No. In fact, it's a misconception that I would like to put right and to correct. That to believe that here, Muslims are hereby commanded that whenever they find anything which is difficult for them to understand, they should turn to the Christians and ask them for and request them for guidance. It's a very big misconception. In fact, if you read this verse, you said it is verse number?
It is verse 44 of chapter 16.
Yes, when it says, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم, that وما أرسلنا من قبلك إلا رجالا نوحي إليهم فاسأل أهل الذكر إن كنتم لا تعلمون. And we sent not as messengers before thee, but men to whom we sent revelation. So ask those who possess the remainder if you know not. One, we don't here see, the Quran does not say that ask the Christians. No. It is saying that ask those who possess the remainder. No, does the Holy Quran say that ask those people of the book. It doesn't say so.
Okay.
No, does the Holy Quran say that ask the people of the Bible.
Okay.
So it's a misinterpretation of this verse.
Okay.
And trying to get a wrong meaning from a verse which is very clear. The verse is saying, and ask those who possess the remainder. Now the question would be, what is the remainder? The true remainder. Again, for us to understand this verse, let us turn to the Holy Quran itself when we go to chapter 15 of the Holy Quran, chapter 15, which is Surah Al-Hijr, chapter 15, verse 10, where Allah the Almighty Himself explains to us what is the true reminder. Verse 10 of chapter 15, Surah Al-Hijr, it says, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم إنا نحن نزلنا الذكر وإنا له لحافظون. That verily we ourselves have sent down this exhortation, this Holy Quran,
Yes.
this message to the Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that verily we ourselves have sent down this exhortation, and most surely we will be its guardian. This is zikra. Nazalna zikra. It's a reminder. The Holy Quran is a reminder, an exhortation, which is reminding us about the teachings, the beautiful teachings of the previous prophets.
All right.
Which is reminding us about our responsibilities to God the Almighty, which is reminding us about our mutual relationship between man and man. So the Quran is the dhikr.
The reminder.
The reminder is the Holy Quran, which is reminding us about the truthfulness of all the former prophets. It's the Holy Quran. We should turn to the Holy Quran if we want the true guidance. So when that verse says that if you want to ask, you should ask those people of the
who possess the reminder.
Yes, so that they can remind us. So who are being talked about here? They are the followers of the Holy Quran. Because according to the Holy Quran is the dhikr. There is nowhere is it written in the Holy Bible that the Holy Bible is a reminder.
Well, thank you very much, Sheikh Adam Hamid, for that wonderful clarification. For those of you who have just joined, the program is Misconceptions Removed, a program we believe will have a positive impact on your understanding of Islam. Today we are looking at the misconceptions surrounding some verses covered in chapter 16 of the Holy Quran. We have looked at a number of them and we are still proceeding with this subject matter. I'm with Sheikh Adam Hamid Sembajwe, the National Tabligh Secretary, Ahmadiyya Muslim Jamaat Uganda. If you have any question, thought, observational comment, the email address is africa@mta.tv. Sheikh Adam Hamid.
Yes, please.
There is yet another verse that I would like again to seek your clarity. The verse is 94, still of chapter 16. It says, let me read verbatim, and if Allah had enforced His will, He would surely have made you all one people. But He lets go astray him who He wishes it, and guides him who He wishes it. And you shall surely be questioned concerning that which you have been doing. That is verse 94. When I read this verse, it actually boggles me and it confuses me somehow, because to me what I get that it is Allah who guides you to do something right.
All right.
And it is the same Allah who leads you astray. And at the same time, He is the same Allah who says, once you commit wrong where He has led you, He will punish you because you're a transgressor. A question comes, where is the just God that Islam claims?
It's a misinterpretation of this verse. In fact, one needs to study it clearly, and again in collaboration with the other verses of the Holy Quran, then you will understand that there is no misunderstanding here whatsoever. It's not confusing whatsoever. And the Holy Quran is very clear.
Actually, our Christian brothers often use that verse to say that there is no just God in Islam, because that's what He does.
No, God is just, and indeed, He leads people to true guidance. When we read the verse, Surah An-Nahl, that's chapter 16, verse 94, which reads as follows: أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم ولو شاء الله لجعلكم أمة واحدة ولكن يذل من يشاء ويهدي من يشاء ولتسألن عما كنتم تعملون. The translation of which is, and if Allah had enforced His will, He would surely have made you all one people. That if God had willed, He would have forced everybody to be a Muslim.
Definitely.
Indeed, He would have done that. Clearly, when we see that some people are Muslim, Christians, Hindus, pagans, whatever, it means that God did not choose to force people to become Muslims. And it goes forward to say, but he lets go astray him who wishes it. That is the true translation of it.
Okay.
It's wrong to say that God is leading people astray. God does not lead people astray, as I will clearly point it out in reference to other verses of the Holy Quran. It will help us to understand the true translation of this verse. It says the true translation is that, but he lets go astray him who wishes it. When one has chosen to take the wrong path, having known the truth and rejected it, then God declares him to have been astray, to have gone astray.
He doesn't stop you.
It's not God who leads one to be astray, but one chooses by himself. Because as we will read from the Holy Quran, we will come to realize that God has created man a free being.
Okay.
With intellect, you can understand and differentiate good from bad. And it's from there that God the Almighty has created man free to choose if he wants to be a Muslim, if he wants to be a Christian, if he wants, but he has given him intellect, which intellect can help him to understand clearly, to understand clearly what is right and what is wrong.
Okay.
So it is man himself who chooses which path to take. We go back to the verse. It says, but he lets go astray him who wishes it, and he guides him who wishes it. And you shall surely be questioned concerning that which you have been doing. Questioned because you had the right intellect. You could understand what is right and what is wrong. You could understand what benefits you and what harms you. And well knowing, well understanding, having been furnished with the right knowledge, you still chose to take the wrong path. So you are responsibility for your wrong actions. Or wrong choices. We understand so when we read, we go to chapter 91 of the Holy Quran. Because for us to understand the Holy Quran better, it is very good and important that we look at the Holy Quran in its totality.
All right.
When we read from chapter 91, that is Surah Ash-Shams, verse 10, Allah the Almighty says that قَدْ أَفْلَحَ مَنْ زَقَّاهَا, that he indeed truly prospers who purifies his soul.
Okay.
When you choose to be righteous, when you choose to purify your heart and your soul, when you choose to do the right, then you have prospered. So prosperity is chosen by anyone by intent. You intend to choose prosperity or to choose righteousness. So according to the Holy Quran, it says, and he indeed truly prospers who purifies it, the heart, when you choose to purify your heart. And he who corrupts it is ruined. So it is you yourself, by your own wrong choices, you choose to take the wrong path, then you are ruined. Not only that, again, when we read from the Holy Quran to understand the clarity of this issue, when we read from chapter 90 of the Holy Quran, we read from verse 11, where Allah the Almighty says that وَهَدَيْنَاهُ النَّجِدَيْنِ, when it says, and we have pointed out to him, who? Man. Naturally, it is in the creation of man that we have pointed out to him the two highways of good and evil.
All right.
Man was created. Within him, he has the capacity either to do good or to do bad. Those are the two highways of good and bad. They are within you, created within you. It is up to you to choose to either do good or to do bad.
Okay.
It's so because you have also been provided with the intellect, the understanding, for you to know that this is good for me, this is bad for me.
All right.
These are the commandments of Allah the Almighty, and if I disobey them, I will incur this punishment. But still, you choose to take the wrong path, then you cannot blame Allah the Almighty. It is your wrong choice which has led you astray.
All right.
In another verse of the Holy Quran, Allah the Almighty says that La ikraha fi din. There is no compulsion in issues of religion as far as Allah the Almighty is concerned.
All right.
So it is not Allah the Almighty who forcibly leads people astray. No.
Never.
People by themselves, they choose to take the wrong side.
All right.
by their own choice. So, in another verse of the Holy Quran, again, Allah the Almighty says that فَمَنْ شَاءَ فَلْيُؤْمِنْ وَمَنْ شَاءَ فَلْيَكْفُرْ. Whoever wishes to believe, let him believe, and whoever wishes to choose disbelief, let him disbelieve.
There is
So
that freedom.
the Holy Quran guarantees freedom of conscience, freedom of belief, freedom of faith. One is free to choose to do the right thing. But since Allah the Almighty has given you the understanding, the intellect, to know what is good and what is bad, so you have to take responsibility for your choices.
All right.
If you take the right side, you will be right, yes, and your relationship with Allah the Almighty will be peaceful. If you choose to take the wrong side, wrongly knowing that it is the wrong path, you will be responsible for your wrong choices. That is why when you adamantly choose the wrong path, that is why Allah the Almighty will punish you. He's not punishing you that He has led you astray. So finally, I want to emphasize the fact that Allah the Almighty, according to the Holy Quran, only leads people to the right path.
Wonderful.
But it's when we reject to take the right path that we go astray, and then we are
Qualify for
ruined.
punishment.
So we cannot take God the Almighty to be responsible for our having gone astray.
Sheikh Adam Hamid, it has been a pleasure to have you on this program. For those of you who have been watching, this marks the end of our discussion. I certainly believe if you have been following, you have keenly understood the true interpretation of the verses that we have singled out. Remember, if you have any question, thought, or observation, the email address is africa@mta.tv. See you next time. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
لا إله إلا الله محمد رسول الله لا إله إلا الله محمد رسول